Here we are.
Hey,
What's
how's
up,
it going?
guys? How's it going?
Welcome to the Mystery School. Tonight we got special guest Gabe Aiello.
What's going on?
What's up, Gabe?
Hi.
That's Dustin. This is your first time
formally
meeting him.
met. Yeah, first time meeting. Excited to jam. We've had a lot of even like we bring a lot of old friends on, but it's been a lot of like. There's always been somebody that has never jammed with the other pair.
We've never jammed.
Well, we've loosely jammed,
like
but not
on
like
acoustics.
We've never sat down with the intention of jamming it out.
Yeah,
so
we never
cool.
set up a day to jam or nothing.
Nope.
It's always nice to jam with someone for the first time.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen you too.
Yeah, it has.
It's been a little bit.
Yeah.
So how do you guys know each other?
I met you through Brian Jackson.
That's right.
Cool. He's been a common thread throughout this episode.
Brian Jackson's been mentioned more than anybody probably on this thing.
And he was our first guest.
He's probably never even listened to this either.
No, he doesn't even know about it because he was our first guest when we didn't have this idea yet to full fruition. We didn't put it out there, but he's been mentioned a lot on this episode.
He's an excellent musician.
I met you because he was playing in your band Helpyourself.
Yep.
You guys were doing 3 guitars, which is cool.
Yeah, at that time.
Yeah.
And then he moved to keyboards after a while.
Okay. Yeah, I like seeing a band with 3 guitars. It's cool.
It was fun. It was difficult.
Yeah, you got to work your parts in.
2 is tough enough.
Yeah.
How did you guys work that?
Very carefully. I mean, I was writing the music, and the other guitar player had never really played in a project before, so I was sort of just like, walking him through it, writing his parts. It limited us a little bit because I had to keep it pretty simple. But when Brian came in, he was I think he was only 15 or 16 at the time, and he was just like, and I was probably mid-20s, 25 or so, and he was just blowing me away. And I just kind of let him do whatever he thought was appropriate.
Keyboard or
he was playing guitar.
He was playing guitar at first, and then
he was the third guitar player.
He actually, the first gig that he played with us, he was filling in on bass. And then after that, I had heard him play guitar, and I was like, dude, you should come and actually stick around and play in this band. Cool. And he was never, I don't think he would have considered himself like an official member of Helpyourself. He was just sort of like playing with us from time to time because he wasn't at every show, and we had our set up in a way that we could play with him or without him.
Gotcha. Did you guys all have electric guitars with similar sounds, or were they very distinct?
Back then I was playing
sound?
acoustic.
So you were on acoustic. You had an electric guy doing rhythm and another guy doing like electric lead.
Brian was playing lead.
Cool.
And then after Brian left, I started playing electric only. And then I was
with 2 guitars,
like the lead rhythm, and then the other guy was the rhythm lead, or like effects rhythm.
Cool.
Or
yeah.
I don't know.
I like that where there's 2 rhythm leads almost just like complementing each other. Like good voices, they can both just fill space. There's no equal level of strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's take it back a little bit. And how did you get into playing music, or even just listening to music? How'd that start out?
Listening to music, that's a cool question, but my dad, so living in Roseville over on the corner of Americana and Junction, my dad had an orange Volkswagen Rabbit, which is weird because my dad's like 6'7" and 300 pounds, so it was like a clown car.
There's usually big guys in small cars.
Yeah, but the 4 tapes I remember him having at all times were Boy George and Culture Club.
Which is weird for a really tall guy to listen to also.
And Queen.
Yeah.
Queen. Prince, 1999. And Doobie Brothers' Greatest Hits. And so we listened to those tapes all the time. There might have been a Lionel Richie album in there too. Or Commodores or something. But and then, they listened to The Eagle, which is classic rock, or 92.5, which was like, adult contemporary. And so that's what I listened to because I didn't know there was anything else until
you started as a soul brother.
About junior high.
So how old were you? So in junior high, you started getting into your own stuff.
Yeah, and I listened to 106.5, which back then was rap.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it was like MC Hammer and Vanilla Ice rap. Like
I remember getting into that stuff at really young.
Yeah. The first tape that I ever got for myself was Vanilla Ice. I stole it from Payless.
I got that
now Rite Aid.
I got that tape as a hand-me-down from my cousins, and I did listen to it a lot.
Would you say that's like baby food, like music-wise? That's why kids like that poppy music. It's like easy to digest.
Totally.
And you grow into this
predictable,
more abstract stuff. Yeah, predictable. It starts getting your brain working. You say, there you go.
This makes me feel safe.
So you started with the soul, worked your way up
did that
to some
stuff, and then
popular music.
Well, in 8th grade, I heard Nirvana. I heard Smells Like Teen Spirit first came out, and I never heard anything like that.
Yeah.
Was that like a game changer for you?
It was.
That
it was
changed
over.
a lot of people's games.
I started listening to 93 Rock.
There you go. Yeah.
Because that's
Before
what it was at the time.
Rock, right?
And and that was it. I'd fall asleep to 93 Rock every night.
So deep subconscious rock bass mixed with the funk brother.
Yeah.
So now are you doing some more country style vibe? How did you get into that kind of?
Well, yeah. So I was listening to the rock, and then my grandpa died and left me a guitar, so I started playing. And the stuff that he played was like, Moon River and old Western hits and
he played
like
for you as a child, or?
I remember him playing a few
chance
times. My parents told me more about him playing for me than I remember him playing for me.
Okay.
But I didn't really like that kind of music at all until probably about 10 years ago. And
so he gave you this gift. What kind of guitar?
It was an old K, which was what Sears the Roebuck used to sell.
Yeah, was it
before Silvertone
like
and Harmony?
Acoustic electric kind of thing?
It was. No, it didn't plug in. My cousin got the plug-in one. This one was just. It was like it looked like a hollow body electric, but it was an acoustic. Yeah, with F-holes.
Yeah.
And it was just beat up and not taken care of. And one day I leaned it against a bed with really taut strings on it, and the neck just folded in.
Oh man!
And so I traded it for 5 CDs, which I regret to this day.
To a buddy of yours?
Yeah, I got Megadeth, Anthrax, Infectious Grooves. What were the other ones? Biohazard.
So you had a metal phase.
You went back to the metal phase.
I didn't really.
Oh,
no,
you just got those?
Yeah, they were trying to. It was trying to.
They were
pull
CDs,
you back
man.
Into
They were
it.
worth something.
Yeah.
So this guitar
Sound to
inspired
dimple.
you then to play that or start listening to your old grandpa's like CD booklet or record album or.
No, I kind of discovered that style of music when Johnny Cash started doing those later albums where he was covering alternative songs, and I was like, wow, that's a cool cat. And so I went back and listened to some of his older music, and then I realized how many songs I'd heard and knew and actually enjoyed. And so then I just branched out from there and started listening to Willie and Waylon and Buck Owens and Merle Haggard, just, lots of old stuff, I call it Western because to me it's not country. What we call country today is just pop music, that's got people singing withdrawals and.
Yeah, Help Yourself was kind of country, right, in a way? Like
it was like spacey country, garagey.
Yeah, it had to me like kind of a country element to it or something,
To me, anything that comes out in like a 15 square mile radius from right here has a slight country feel to it. And I don't know if it's because of the proximity of the trains or because it's, the Wild West or because it's the West in general, but even you listen to the Deftones music and I can hear folk and country and
so you find
in their ideas and
a
concepts.
merging between rock and the country concepts is
well it's more, I think it's more folk, more Western folk than it is country. It's there's definitely like a cowboy poetry style to lyrics and music in the Sacramento region. That's my observation anyway.
Yeah.
So now merging from being a rocker to a soul brother to a rocker to a Western, what are you doing these days? Are you a little bit of of everything? Are you bridging the gaps between those genres, or?
At heart, I'm an experimental guitar player. I like to make sounds, and wish I would have brought my pedal board with me, actually.
Well, you can use mine tonight. So,
sure.
But that's definitely right up the alley of what we got going on.
I think that fits in well. What's your go-to pedal?
You can only pick one. The one that I could never let go of is my Boss DM2 analog delay.
Yeah.
Maroon.
Those are nice.
Delay, 1970s. They go for about $300, and they haven't made them for a long time. They're making a copy of it now for like $179, but it's not the same thing.
That's still, like, to me, the best analog delay I've heard.
It's just, it does what you want it to do.
You do the feedback.
It's easy to control.
You feedback that thing just make it go crazy.
It's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, no pedal has.
My bandmates hate it.
No pedal feeds back better than that
pedal.
Well, I mean, they just hate it because at every practice, before and after practice, I'm just like scratching like a DJ.
There's definitely a lot of delay feedback on these podcasts throughout the episodes.
I just picked up a Earthquaker Designs Bit Commander, and I really like that one too.
Nice. Is that like a fuzz type thing?
It's like sub-octave, octave down, octave up, and then there's a fuzz.
Yes, it gets kind of like, it's bit, meaning kind of like Nintendo, right?
Or like
kinda
Bit
like
Crusher kind of thing. Like, it's
like
distorted, like a Bit Crusher fuzz.
Distorted, like electronic computer, like old computer, or like video game kind of sounding
like
thing.
Seven Nation Army by White Stripes, or that Black Keys songs, like that kind of sound, like almost like a Pog. Sort of.
I got a Pog. You can play that tonight.
Organish effect, but it does some really cool things with the fuzz. You can most of those pedals are monophonic, so you can only play one note at a time. But there's ways that you can tweak that one so that you can still play full chords and still, have it shine and not go like that weird digital pixelation thing that those pedals tend to do.
That is one thing about octave pedals. They don't all take chords very well.
So who's your go-to experimental guitarist then for inspiration?
Probably Thurston Moore.
Sonic Youth.
Yeah, it's Sonic Youth. And I mean, even Kurt Cobain on some of his more aneurysm, like that kind of stuff, like just crazy things that don't even sound like guitars anymore. I don't write music like either of those people. My songs come out very folky, very Western, and very melancholy. But the band I'm currently playing in, Drop Dead Red, is sort of, we were called the Carly Duhane Band, and we were getting pigeonholed as bluegrass and alt country, and so we were nominated for the Sammys a couple times and lost because it just wasn't the right category for us.
Okay.
And so we changed our name to Drop Dead Red, which caused us to not get Concert in the Park last year. We had played the year before as Carly Duhane Band, but they thought with the name change that no one would know who we were. So we took that year off. Now we're doing Concert in the Park this year, and we're having our CD release at Harlow's. And I don't really know what our genre is. Like, rock is what I would have to say.
When's the release at Harlow's?
The 13th of March.
Okay, March 13th.
Yeah.
Drop Dead
Friday
Red.
the 13th.
Cool.
Yeah. Harlow's has about, I think, a 250 head capacity.
That's my favorite place to see.
We're already
show around here. It's
at, I think, 175 tickets sold. So
cool.
And, we got some time left, and a bunch of maybes on the invite. So
13th,
do you play experimental kind of guitar in that?
When Carly asked me to join the band, I asked her specifically, like, I told her I like Wilco, I like Radiohead, I like the Flaming Lips, I like Sonic Youth, Pink Floyd. Like, I like to make noise with my guitar. You are playing in like a folk trio right now. Are you going to be okay with me bringing that to your band? And she said, yeah, absolutely, as long as it's, appropriate. And said, of course, like, it doesn't sound right with the song, I'm gonna scrap it and try again.
That's not good enough. I need full access to go crazy.
But the funny thing is that like I haven't really done that.
Well, you're pulling that Nels Klein role of coming in and like that experimental.
I haven't gotten to that
nice,
point
tasty
yet, but
piece, but yeah,
you're still.
But yeah, I'd love to.
Still working towards getting crazy. You haven't fully unleashed it yet.
I don't trust myself enough to do that yet. Like I need to have well-written, consistent pieces that I play, so that because I'm a perfectionist on stage, I like it to sound as close to the same every time as it possibly can.
Yeah, consistent.
Unless it's like a an interlude or a solo where I can jam out a little bit. But for the most part, yeah, I have changed my style and learned how to play a different way, and it has got a lot more Western kind of twangy, noodly style, and the way that Carly writes songs, I've never really heard anybody write that way. I'm a very like verse chorus bridge chorus type writer, and she sometimes doesn't have a verse or a chorus in a
Is
song.
it lyrically based then? So coming from like a thought and idea, and then
and she also doesn't know how to play real chords, so she's inventing
creating her own
chords, and so I have to figure out like, okay, I can't play an actual F minor here or F sharp minor. I have to play like a E minor with an F sharp bass.
You have to like figure out what the chord is.
Yeah, and then I'm usually capoed somewhere, so I'm inverting what she's playing, but like, I still have to figure out how to like form that chord so it doesn't clash with her chord, and then I have to tell the bass player what she's playing because he's like, I don't know which note is the root.
Those are fun. So when playing with an established group like Drop Dead Red, like what do you want to get out of tonight coming into a jam? What demons in your head do you have that you haven't playing in that song format? You want to be consistent. So what tones do you want to get out of your brain tonight?
I don't know, man. We'll see what comes out.
It's a confusing question.
You don't have the barriers, right? So
you're asking that question, but really, I first talked to you recently at the Las Pesadillas, the Old Eye show, and I was doing the podcast that night.
That's right.
And you can go listen to that one or whatever. But
was he on the episode?
No, he wasn't.
No.
But
it was just the band.
So I told you about it, and I told you I want to have you come out and do it. So then I hit you up probably a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And then you hit me back recently, and I was like, yeah, man. And I shot you a couple dates, and you're like, yeah, whatever. Today works. And then so like you're like, yeah, whatever, I'll do it, whatever it is, I'll come out and try. And then he's asking you this other question, which is kind of confusing.
No, I mean, I get it. Like, as we're jamming later, like what kinds of things do I want to try to produce there? And I'm not really sure. I'm never really sure, and
great.
Oftentimes, when I don't jam much anymore, which is unfortunate. That's how I learned to play. I hosted an open mic at what is now the Golden Bear in Sacramento. It used to be Cafe Paris. And at the end of each night, whoever was left, I'd get him up on stage with me and we'd all play. And sometimes it was shitty. Other times it was amazing. And
find those moments.
We'd switch instruments, and I learned a lot about guitar playing bass. I learned a lot about bass playing guitar. Playing with different people's styles like totally alters your concept of music.
And that's actually where you met Dean, right?
I met Dean.
But Dean used to go to that?
Dean used to go to that, but I met Dean working at the Rocky Ridge Town Center in Roseville. I worked at Jamba Juice / Green Planet, and he worked at Starbucks.
Oh, because Dean...
I should know his bagels.
Dean was on our one of our episodes. It was like episode 4 or 5.
Episode 5,
Episode 5, yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, that was great. We did some hip-hop.
I'm doing some hip-hop with him, actually. He sent me a bunch of beats and asked me which one I wanted to do without even asking me if I wanted to do it.
You're doing a rap?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Some of my older songs are very like folk rap, like Dean's. I have a song that was directly inspired by his style. That is like my autobiography from when I was 25. It doesn't really fit who I am now, but it's still that's who I was, and it helped make me who I am today.
Cool, man. That ties in.
What are you playing now? A Strat, right?
Yeah, I primarily play a Strat, mostly because I need something with a floating tremolo. I do a...
You whammy it?
Well, sometimes I use the full whammy, but often I just put my pinky underneath it and do a quarter bend, just to get some slurred, surfy, and other times kind of pedal steel sounds on my guitar. Because a lot of times with Carly's songs, because we're trying to figure out what these chords are that she's playing, I'm not playing full chords. I'm just picking around, and I'll hit 3 notes, and then I'll do a little quarter bend at the end of the last one, just to make it sound a little bit more interesting and contrived, and not so just like I'm just hitting the notes in the chord like at different times, because I get bored with stuff like that, not only as a player but as a listener. So I want to make it as interesting as I can for the people who are out there, and also for other musicians to kind of wonder, like, how the fuck is he doing that? Like, there's no whammy on there. Is he got a pitch shifter pedal, or
do you mess with any odd tunings?
I used to in my solo stuff, but I haven't lately. Drop D is about as crazy as I get.
What amp you got nowadays?
Roland Jazz Chorus.
Oh, still same thing, JC 120.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a blank canvas. It is
and neutral. Just
when it is, when there's no effect added to it, it is the cleanest, like crispest sounding amp that I've ever heard. And so I drive it with a Seymour Duncan twin tube pedal that has 2 old Sylvania TV tubes in it, and then in front of that I have a Seymour Duncan pickup booster, which acts as like my 4th channel for soloing, or more sustain, or just added volume.
Nice. I watched that video you guys have on your website. That was cool.
Which one?
It's I don't know. It's got 2 songs. It's like
from NPR.
I guess I don't know.
That was when we were the Carly Duhane band.
Yeah, you're doing it. You're doing some like 16th note like shredding on
the blues song, on 3,000 Miles.
That was cool.
That's gonna be on our new album.
Nice.
It comes out on the 13th of March.
How do people find the album?
All right.
Your website?
It'll be. I don't know if we're gonna be able to sell it on the website. It'll be on iTunes, and we'll have copies of it at the show and at Concert in the Park.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, welcome. I'm excited to jam with you.
It's going to be cool.
You guys ready to get down?
Should we do it?
Let's do it.
All right, let's jam it out.
I could fizzle out slowly, I could fade out fast, I could live out my whole life looking through the looking glass. I could drive by your house now, I could try real hard, I could see all those springtime flowers growing up in your front yard. But it goes way down below. All those spirits that have nothing for to show. What is love? But I don't know. You could answer my phone call, you could listen to me. You could make every excuse that's ever been made in history. You could go to your room. You could sleep all day. You could take everything in your life that matters and push it away. But it goes way down below. All those spirits that have nothing for to show. What is love? I don't know. But it goes way down below. All those spirits that have nothing for to show. But what is love? Well, I don't know. I could fizzle out slowly. I could fade out fast. I could live out my whole life looking through the looking glass. Thanks, guys. Cool. I'm glad you liked it.
One more tune.
Yeah. I'm going to do a different one than I thought I was going to. That the one that I was like warming up on, I'm not feeling it right now. It's a sad thing too. It's about that Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords who got shot. When she got shot, this little 9-year-old girl got shot too, and she died. And so I wrote a song about her. And so I don't want to do that one. This one's actually sad and creepy too, but it's like, I don't know, I think yeah. This one's about a dream I had instead, about falling asleep in a graveyard and waking up in a hospital as a zombie. But like a cognizant zombie. Cognizombie. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh shit, what am I going to tell everybody now? I'm a fucking zombie. Anyway, Helpyourself did this one briefly. So it's like right before we stopped playing. But yeah, it doesn't have a name either, so we'll have to figure out what to call it. Just like the last one, gotta remember how to play it first. asleep in the graveyard. Dreams conjure old souls. You wake in a hospital. The gurney wheel roll. It rolls, it rolls, it just rolls. Yeah, it rolls, it rolls, it just rolls. When you went out with your pride in the cold winter outside, what a sound as it all fell to the floor. When you look on the bright side, but it's never the right side, you sure found what you were looking for. Chill from the night before has crept into your bones. Your veins become icicles, and your heart is turned cold. And the cold is cold, it's so cold. Yeah, the cold is cold, it's so cold. When you went out with your pride in the cold winter outside, what a sound as it all fell to the floor. When you look on the bright side, but it's never the right side, you sure found what you were looking for. Well, you've lied, cheated, and you've stolen from the ones you love. Well, what goes around comes around when push comes to shove. When you went out with your pride in the cold wind, or outside, what a sound, it all fell to the floor. When you look on the bright side, but it's never the right side, you sure found what you were looking for. Thanks.
Hey.
Yo.
We're back.
Hello.
We're back.
We've jammed.
It was glorious.
Jellied. There was a little bit of peanut butter in there.
I felt very rusty.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it felt good. I mean, I shook it loose, and it was getting easier and easier to jam towards the end. Wish we had more time.
Yeah, I know. Could just fucking jam forever, huh?
Yeah. I know. Well, you'll come back though, right?
Yep.
Yep. We'll have the return of, right?
I can bring a pretty killer keyboard player too.
Oh.
That would be great.
Yeah, he's really like, I mean,
because we got the organ in there,
yeah,
and we rarely have anybody come and play it. But it sounds cool.
Ever had a true organ
Jeremiah
player.
Jacobs, he goes under the name Heartbreak Time Machine.
Uh-huh.
He does his solo cover act. He's really good jamming with people too. So
cool. So what'd you think of the mystery school?
It was awesome. I'm hooked.
All right. Yeah, cool. That was fun. It was cool having you come over.
About it.
Yeah. It like we were just talking about, it's a good release musically, especially when you're playing with other groups, to do them justice, to play in that certain style, to have a jam release. Yeah.
Can't jam it out.
No. You can't fuck up. You can't try that thought in your head because you have that split second. You have to just execute.
Yeah.
Right. So it's fun to have this element to not be afraid to make mistakes and just jam.
You're kind of forced into the moment with this kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're thrust into just the
everybody.
unexpected.
Yeah, we all are.
Well, it was really interesting as we were jamming. Like I was learning about my jam style. Like when I was playing lead, I was only doing minor pentatonic scales, and it was like, that's cool. It sounds all right, like you can, but they all end up starting to sound so similar. And I need to, like, that was something like an aha moment where I was like, oh, okay, guess I need to learn a couple more scales and get comfortable with them, so I'm not just like sitting right here doing the same solo on a different song.
I feel you. I constantly have that battle. It's like
this has been an experiment in that.
It's tough getting away from kind of your thing in a way,
You probably never can. I mean, it's you, right? You can't stop being you.
Yeah, but you want to like add more riffs into your vocabulary and more scales.
More voicings and
but yeah, doing a jam like this and you're like playing for a while, trying to keep it interesting. You feel like, oh shit, I'm running out of licks. What am I gonna do now?
I do like that you have school in the title though, because it is a learning experience. Like I said, I totally learned that about myself tonight, and I'm gonna try to, do my homework. And then next time I come, we'll see what I've learned, and you guys can test me.
All right. We don't even do like the multiple choice.
Yeah.
This is like it's a
essay
straight
only.
It's like an oral exam.
Just tie your hands behind your back and throw you in the deep end.
Sink or swim, bitch.
Yeah.
That's how I learned the best. So
yeah.
All through school, man, I could pass the test, but I couldn't do the homework. Because the pressure is what really pushes me to excel.
Were you feeling the pressure tonight?
I wasn't, and maybe that's why I was stuck in that minor pentatonic scale. I was like, this is so chill. This is easy. No, I did feel rusty, though. And like I said, towards the end there, I was getting more into the groove. Felt really good.
Yeah, that's cool. You started out with those acoustic songs. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
What were the titles of those songs?
The first one's Down Below. I don't have a title for the second one. Some people have called it like the
Doing the words.
Zombie Two-Step or the Undead Shuffle, or but nothing that anybody's titled it has felt right. So it's not titled at all. It's just that creepy dream song of mine.
Nice.
I dig it. I can hear sounds behind it.
Yeah, there could be some really cool stuff. My buddy Jake, do you know Jake Gleason?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jake always said that it sounded like we were driving through the desert at night when I played that song. When Help Yourself used to play that song anyway. Maybe not my solo version.
That was like kind of like walking through the desert at night.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, we were walking. Rollerblading through the sand.
Yeah, like not going fast.
Sand in the wheels.
Yeah, the Mystery School has been a good experiment in letting go. Jamming, at least for me, that's what I get out of it, is you have to let go. Whether you're like trying not to be yourself, or the judgment of it, or just like you have so many. I'm hearing so many sounds to put a rhythm to. You just have to let go at a point, and
right.
And then learn to hone in on a groove. For me, that's my biggest part is the discipline of not. I hear so much with. I've been like thankful enough to have a lot of good players around me that have given me a lot of quick inspiration. So you almost have so much to thrive on that you have to learn, get in that meditative state and learn that restraint and learn how to let go, right? And
well, there is that thing when like a drummer who like you hear maybe something somebody's playing and you might want to play something that goes with that, but also you might want to just play it smooth behind it.
Yeah, because that's me as a drummer. I can hear that in the other players that I'm around. So I'm trying to complement what they're playing, but my rhythm changes. So then I can hear them molding to me, and I'm almost like, oh shit, oh no, I don't want it to go there. Here, I'm gonna stay on the one. The one's there, So keep that rhythm, and I'll play around it. So that's the fun part of jamming, is because you have that. You're hearing something on someone else, and then you play a rhythm, and then they hear you, so they're going where you're going, and you're going, holy shit, they weren't going where I anticipated. Now they're going where I'm going. Oh, okay, I better fulfill this thought because I led them along, so I'm going to complete this statement. Okay, but hopefully you'll complete yours because I was going there with you, right? So you'll
there is a thing where you start doing something, and then you kind of realize you're leading the way,
Right.
And then you got to like, all right, I guess I can tell everybody's following me at this point. So you're kind of like doing a thing. Yeah, there is. It does kind of get passed around, like the lead.
Yeah. For sure. I'd like to do next time, if we could. I mean, hopefully I can get here a little bit earlier so that we can turn the bass up a little more. Because I felt like
you want to hear more bass,
especially when I was playing guitar.
I could have turned it up.
But I think that was really interesting for me because I am primarily a guitar player, but when I was playing bass tonight, I felt way more comfortable than I did when I played guitar. And I have been a bass player before, so I'm not like unfamiliar. Like the bass isn't unfamiliar to me, but it was just, I don't know, for some reason playing in a rhythm section with you. I felt more comfortable than like playing with you guys as my rhythm section.
Cool.
That's not knocking you as a rhythm section. It's more like a criticism of my guitar work.
Well, not at all. You dove into the rhythm section.
I feel like though
you were.
There is something to that where like I've kind of felt that. I think a lot of people have felt that. Like sometimes it's nice to get on the bass and let somebody else have to play lead guitar. There's like an expectation on the guitar.
Well, honestly, like this
some
project
stuff.
that I'm in right now is the first time that I've ever been a like legit lead guitar player. I've always been a front man or like rhythm lead with like a little bit of lead or noise, and it's been really interesting. This is the first time I've ever been in a band where I could rip a 12-bar blues solo. And it's fucking fun.
Yeah,
it is really fun. I always like, I'd listen to blues and I'd be like, oh, it's so like simple and predictable. Like it just is the same all the time. But as a lead guitar player,
hitting those
12-bar blues song is pretty fun.
I know.
And you were saying that you saw that video where I was like hitting those 30-second notes, and that's why it's fun, because it's so predictable and so solid that you can just like rip, let go and just it's fun.
Well, those 3 chords make that 5-note pentatonic scale like completely rippable. You can just burn through that thing, and every note sounds good. So it makes a lot of sense why like so many guitar players end up playing those 3 chords.
Yep, totally. I never thought that I would be in any kind of project that had a 12-bar blues song as like an album song. And I'm really glad that I, broke that seal, and I'm in a band that does that. Even though we're not a blues band and I'm not a blues guitarist, it's really fun to pretend for a minute.
That's kind of, in a way, I feel like I could do one 12-bar blues song a night. Because if you're doing a lot of them, you got to get really creative.
Oh, God, yeah.
You can't just be like burning through all your lines in one song.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you have to do one that's like dun, 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 and then the one that's like, oh, I had it in my head a second ago.
It's not about what you can play.
Like,
it's how tasty
forwards,
you are.
Backwards. Yeah.
Yeah, the tasty spacing comes in.
Yeah.
How did the amp and guitar feel for you?
Good. Yeah, I don't typically play Gibsons. My acoustic guitar that I used to play was an Epiphone. It was a J200 copy, but electric wise, I've always played Strats or Tellys. I prefer Strats because of the floating tremolo, but that SG, it felt good. And I remember playing Brian's SG. I don't know if that's the same one, but
no, that's a different one.
Different one, yeah.
I did play his a lot. It was nice.
Brian's SG, like, it just never, like, it felt, he hated treble too, so when I played through his amp, it was so low and mid-heavy that I just felt like it didn't have any tone to it at all.
That was a dark SG, his too.
Yeah, well, he had those plastic tuning pegs, which I think makes a difference in how it absorbs the sound.
It also wasn't, like, really finished. It was a flat kind of,
Right.
So that makes it darker, it seemed like.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that I'd be interested in playing that kind of guitar more often, which, and I thought that I was a Fender guy through and through. My dream guitar is either a Jazzmaster or Mustang.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are my two favorites right now.
Yeah, it'd be cool to play a Jazzmaster. I've never really played one.
Well, it's a short scale, so it's like...
well, the Jazzmaster's long.
I thought the Jazzmaster was shorter.
No. The Mustang may be. I think the Mustang bass is, but the Jazzmaster is like a long scale guitar.
Yeah, the Mustang bass is definitely short scale. That's what Wes Baker plays. That's a sweet little bass. I love that thing. But yeah, I just picked up a Yamaha Strat copy that has a humbucker, and I normally play on a Corona Strat, like an American-made Corona Strat. Pretty decent, pricey guitar. I picked up this Yamaha Strat copy for $95 on Craigslist, and I almost like it better than my Strat. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna put some 52 reissued humbucker in there and a Hot Rails pickup in there as well to kind of mess with it a little bit more.
Gabe, you have one good story. I don't know if you want to tell it or not, but you were skateboarding down Main Street.
Yep.
You want to tell that story?
Well, I'll preface it in saying that nipples grow back.
Oh.
Just so you know, in case you were worried, like if you had scraped it off as I did, that you don't have to worry. It'll come back. It'll be different, but it'll come back. So I was longboarding down Main Street. I lived near the corner of Main, or not Main. It was Junction. Junction. Was living like in the apartments down there at Junction in Washington, Quail Ridge, and I didn't have shoes or shirt on. I had a huge fro that was all bleached out from the sun, and I thought it would be fun to race the cars down Junction. So I was keeping up. I was doing pretty good, and then I hit a piece of pavement that had a root growing under it. And
how fast were you going?
My board
35?
stopped. No, probably like 20, 25. Like, about as fast as you can sprint. I was going pretty good, and I hit it, and my board stopped. I kept going, and every time I fall on a skateboard, a bike, walking, somehow I think in a split second you play guitar, protect your hands. And so I try to roll to my shoulder. I was at a bad angle when I flew off of the board, so rolling onto my shoulder just drove me into the ground further, and I felt it, grinding further and further, getting more and more of my shoulder muscle. So I just flattened out, and it scraped my entire pectoral, my ribs, my hip, my knee, my ankle. It was all just meat. It was gross. It was really bad. I got up. I didn't even look at it. I sprinted back to my house. The handyman for the apartment complex was in there fixing a hole in the wall, and he was like, "Oh my God." He was like, "What the hell happened to you?" And I hadn't even looked yet, and I ran into the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and it was just like, I don't even know how to describe it. I don't even want to describe it. But I had to pick pebbles and twigs and stuff out of myself. And the next morning, I was supposed to start a new job, and it would have been the best job that I'd ever had up to that point in my life. And I had to call the temp agency that had hired me and say, I can't put a shirt on. Like, I can't go to work. There's no way. And the guy was like, well, I'm sorry. Like, there's not much we can do about that. Like, you're not going to have that job. And so I just laid there for a month and a half and watched it all heal, wondering if my nipple was going to come back. And it did. And when I go in really cold water, all of the places where I had, road rash turned blue.
Ooh.
So it's like really, clear that something happened to me there. That nipple is completely flat and darker. And the other nipple is like a normal nipple.
I always thought that was a great story because it teaches you that your nipple grows back.
Yes.
You wonder if you scraped it off, if it would grow back.
Dude, I have so many stories. That is but one.
What's another one that's good?
Oh, I'll save it for next time. They're long. They're long stories. I'll play a cover. Can you guys do covers on your podcast?
We've done them. We try to do originals. It just seems more
fitting.
It's
an original version of someone else's song.
Well, you could do it if you want.
But it was playing in the background of this incident, and so that's why I had to. If you really want me to tell some more stories, I'll tell some more stories.
Let's hear one more story.
All right, so I was working at the AM/PM on Rockland Road right by CR College. I was working the graveyard shift. It was 3 days before Halloween. This is probably 10 years ago or so. And that AM/PM's notorious for crazy shit happening. But this dude comes through the door, and he's got a ski mask and a trench coat on. And he pulls this squirrel shooter out of his trench coat, like sawed-off shotgun with pistol grip, duct tape on it somewhere. I can't even like fully picture it at the moment, but I started laughing at the guy because I thought it was one of my buddies like joking because it was 3 days before Halloween, and I'm like laughing. He's like, "You better not fucking laugh at me and don't touch the fucking button." And I was like, "Oh shit." There's no button, dude. You don't have to worry. Like I'm not gonna do that. And so in the meantime, I have a boombox up on the cigarette rack playing OK Computer by Radiohead. And Climbing Up the Walls is a song that's playing while he's robbing me. And so it gets really climactic, and I'm trying to get the money out of the drawer. My finger gets stuck in the thing that holds the bills down. I'm like yanking the drawer around. He thinks that I'm fucking around. He's like getting super pissed off. And I can still remember his eyes were like super light pale blue, and his pupils were like pinpoints.
He's like
it was
tweaking
super
out
freaky.
Hardcore.
Yeah, and so then the song's climaxing. I'm giving him all the money, and I was making the drawer for the next shift, so all that money was on the counter. He made out with like $500 probably. And the guy that was working with me was on an exchange program from Fiji. He's an East Indian guy from Fiji. And he had told him to get on the floor. Dude just pissed his pants, like literally pissed his pants. And he was mopping at the time, so he was laying in wet, dirty floor. And the guy leaves, tells us to lock the door and count to 200. As soon as I lock the door, the song changes over to No Surprises. And, if you know that album, No Surprises is twinkly and happy. And he's singing about no alarms and no surprises, like, just super calm and mellow. So I, calmly walk over, call the cops, tell them I've been robbed, please come. They get there, I unlock the door, Lucky comes on, which is about surviving a car crash or, some kind of crazy incident.
Uh-huh.
And I'm getting super, like, amped up. If you can't tell, I'm, like, getting this adrenaline rush right now. But anyway, so, like, it still hadn't really hit me what what had happened to me until the cops like were talking to me, and they're like, well, let's look at the tape, and then show them the tape, and all you can hear is Radiohead screaming, like climbing up the walls while the guy's robbing me. And they're like, well, why did you have that boombox up there? Like, were you working with this guy? Like, how did he get away so quick? And this place, this AM/PM has like 7 different, you could like go through the creek, and then you're up on this like, you know, frontage road. You could get on the freeway going in either direction. You could go on Rockland Road in either direction. You know, there's, you know, there was so many different ways he could get away. And after the cops left, and I was like under suspicion of, you know, you know, assisted burglary or whatever, my legs like just gave out, because I thought about the obituary that my parents were gonna have to write. And you know, if I died, like, dude works at AM/PM and like plays in this shitty band and like, you know, all these things. And I was just like, God damn it, like this is super lame. And so 2 weeks later, cop comes in, and I'm thinking I'm still under suspicion of robbing the store. And he's like, hey, did I ever tell you they caught that guy? And I was like, no, I had no idea. He said, yeah, he got in a shootout with a park ranger in Santa Cruz, shot her in the leg, kidnapped a woman and her daughter in their BMW, drove to San Jose, got in a shootout with the cops, killed a cop.
Whoa.
They caught him, and then he confessed all these other things in like some kind of plea bargain thing, and he confessed to robbing the store. So basically, that's when it really hit me that like if I had done anything stupid, that dude would have just, you know, tweaked out and pulled the trigger, and I would have been gone. That would have been it. And so I decided to cover Climbing Up the Walls, but I do it like this kind of creepy, funky, bluesy version. So
you want to do it right now? We just told a good story about it. You want to do it?
We could, if I can calm down. I'm like super fucking amped now.
You do it on the acoustic by yourself?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, but we could do it right now. Because I feel like nobody's gonna sue us now after hearing that story.
Right.
We could go in there. You could play it, and then like, did you not hear the story? Like, doesn't the guy deserve to play it?
Yeah. Well, shit. Why not? I did it at the show that I played last Saturday, and it went over pretty well.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it now that you.
Okay.
That was an awesome story too, man.
Cool. Well, I feel super weird about it because I'm like hunched over and
that's
all amped up, and my heart's beating fast. And
yeah, well, it's cool that you shared it with us. You know.
Yeah.
It gets you.
Reliving that
moment. Yeah, it kind of brought you back, and you're feeling it biologically.
It.
I'm not sure if that's the closest I've ever come to dying, but like that was definitely like
the highest probability.
The one that sticks out in my mind. Well, I've jumped off of some cliffs that I probably shouldn't have jumped off of before, but that was
into
like
the water.
that was not my choice. Jumping into the river off of those cliffs, that was my choice. So yeah, the closest I've ever come to dying when it wasn't a stupid choice that I made.
It was out of your control completely.
Besides working at AM/PM on the graveyard shift.
Some tweakers' hands.
That was a stupid choice too.
Yeah. Don't work at AM/PM,
play it real quick.
kiddies.
Okay, let's try it.
We'll wrap it up.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
Good night.
Key to the lock in your house that keeps your toys in the basement. And if you get too far inside, you'll only see my reflection. It's always best when the light is out. I am the pick in the ice. Do not cry out, hit the alarm. You know we're friends until we die. And either way you turn, I'll be there. Open up your skull, and I'll be there. I'm climbing up the wall. It's always better when the light is out. It's always better on the outside. 15 blows to the back of your head. 15 blows to your mind. So lock the kids up safe tonight, and shut the eyes in the cupboard. I got the smell of a local man who's got the loneliest feeling. And either way he turns, I'll be there. Open up your skull, and I'll be there. I'm climbing up the wall. Open up your skull, and I'll be there. I'm climbing up the wall, climbing up the wall. I am the key to the lock and